Hey everyone, welcome to Unpacked Unfiltered Tuesdays with Becky and Doris. I'm Doris.
And I'm Becky.
And yay, we're literally just two friends who talk way too much and figure out why not record it.
We talk about the real life messy challenges in business and family, sharing the mindset shifts and streamlined business systems that actually keep us sane. So basically, if you want real conversations about the messy middle of life, work, family, finding yourself when you've lost the plot, you're in the right place.
And I think, before we talk about our topic for the day, is this whole thing of, and how I've, with everything that's been going on outside, it's that whole thing of, can we take a moment to talk about the fact that there are days when we just don't want to do anything as much as we love our business. And yes, we want to push it forward. And yes, we want to do all these things. But sometimes you can have such shit days and just wake up and you're like, you can't, like, you don't want to face things. I woke up like that this morning. Like, I can't face doing all of this today. I can't face doing that to-do list today. Even though I love what I'm doing, I still, it can be hard sometimes, can't it?
Yes, it can.
It's just, it's how you get through that.
Self-compassion, really. For me, that's always about that self-compassion, that it is that I wake up this morning and acknowledging how you're feeling. You know what, today I just wish I could just stay in bed, put the duvet over my head and pretend I don't exist.
Yeah.
Right? And just acknowledge that, right? And maybe you do stay in bed for an extra 2 minutes before you get up and then do the morning routine and the breakfast and the kids and all this kind of stuff, right? But it's just acknowledging it, right? Saying, oh, today I'm feeling a bit down because I feel a bit helpless. And it isn't because you don't love your child or whatever else, but I just need this 2 minutes. And then you get up and then you do whatever it is, right? And get them out the door. And as soon as you're out the door, maybe you say, do you know what? This work will just have to wait for a few hours.
Yeah.
Because I'm not in the right headspace. And you know that when you're not in the right headspace, things take 5 times as long.
Oh, God, yeah.
You know, take the 2 hours for yourself, go for a walk, go and have, or actually jack in work for a day and look after you. Because the instinct is, shit, I've got to get this stuff done because I need to get paid. And things then get suppressed, right? And you know, into this little box inside us, right? And no, we kind of like, no, I got it and I go do it, right? But we haven't acknowledged it, and that little box starts getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger because, you know, life happens and shit happens, right? And for me, what I find is like, you know what? Actually, I just do need to take that time off and acknowledge that this is what's going on and accept it.
Yes.
And the next one, I always talk about the 3 A's, right? Awareness. I wake up this morning, oh my God, it doesn't feel good. Okay, I'm a bit down, right? So what is the question that I like to ask myself, what is needed right now?
Yeah.
And if what's needed right now, I just need a quiet day. I just do one call. I don't want to touch work because I need to work this through, then that's what's required because that's best for you. Instead of you suppressing it and then things then take 3 to 5 times longer. You end the day feeling even more knackered than when you first started. Then the kids come home and you're not right there for them, right? And then everything just gets delayed instead of then having a positive, potentially chat. It all comes from, oh, okay, I've got to do this, right? I have to do it, right? Yeah. So you're there, you're doing it, but in your head, just like, you know, if you hadn't thrown that fucking chair, right, we wouldn't be in this freaking position, right? And there's this resentment, and that's natural.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you don't love your son. You're sitting there like, but I don't need this. You just need to freaking get through another 6 weeks of school. Yeah. You know, you're not saying this, but he feels it.
But it's not just, and I feel like that resentment isn't just towards that whole thing. It's that
you bring everything in.
You bring everything in. It's the work. You get resentful for the work, and even as much as you love it, you get resentful. You get resentful for every decision you've got to make, for even doing the dishes and things like that.
Yes.
But this, and I think it's this whole idea of
yes, we're business owners. We always need to be switched on, and we just need to push through, and just. But it is that self-compassion, isn't it? Though?
It is. I think that's really, really important, and we find it so much easier to be hard on ourselves than to be kind, right?
Yeah.
And it's that kind of, and I know we talked about this before. It's like we wouldn't treat our children that way, right? So it is that kind of putting a mirror up, you know, if my child was going through this, how would I behave towards them? What would I say? How would I act? What would I do? And then, you know, whatever you do, just turn that mirror then back at yourself. This is what I need to do for me. Yeah, because, you know, a child is sick. Well, and everyone gets sick. Everyone gets a sick day, right? Other people in companies, they have paid sick days because they expect people sick days. Right? So it's kind of like, yeah, how about I do it? The project is still going to get done, right? You know, because we all know that, yes, we can work all the hours in the sun, but are all of the hours that we're working really productive? Or would me taking half a day out or a day out actually gets my head back into space, right? And then everything just gets washed out really efficiently. We all know that, you know, we all procrastinate and expand things because, you know, but when we put under a little bit of pressure or whatever, we all know that we can become much more efficient.
Absolutely.
Right? That kind of focus, right? And I know that you can be really hyper-focused, right? But you can't be as effective, you know, when you're hyper-focused, when you're emotionally not regulated, right? Because you know, that resentment, that, you know, that every time, you know, your thoughts flicks, it goes back, you know, and that little box just get that little bit bigger, and then one day it will just have to explode, right? Because it's got to come out somehow.
Oh God, yeah.
And then everyone impacts it, and then it takes you 2 to 3 days to dig yourself out of that hole, instead of, how about I just give myself a little bit of time now?
Yeah.
Right?
Those extra 2 minutes, or that extra walk, or that extra 1 hour of just sitting with a book or something, instead of just powering straight through it.
Yeah, because they, you know, you know, what people say is that research has shown that, you know, when you are in that kind of negative spiral and that kind of worry and anxiety, that probably takes about 3 hours a day.
Yeah.
3 hours a day, on top of the mindless scrolling that we do, right? And on top of the, you know, I just started doing Wordle. I don't know if you know.
Oh dear, yes, I remember Wordle. Yeah,
I never played it until the kids playing it, and now I'm playing it, and I'm spending 10 minutes a day doing that. I mean, it's yay! I got 3 or 5 green squares. Yay! I got the word right? But I'm like, but what is it? But that's a dopamine hit, and I'm like, why am I doing that? I mean, apart from it's slightly educational, right? But is that just me rationalizing it away because I could spend that 10 minutes washing out a post, right? Or preparing something for work, right? Little thing, you know, or writing that email, right? Or whatever else it is, right? But I don't. So, you know, we waste hours of our days worrying in terms of anxiety, in terms of, that one didn't go well, you know, and that means that we are 3 hours less efficient. And if you tally that up over a week and then over a year,
oh God,
over, you know, your average hourly rate, that'd be hundreds and thousands a year. And you're kind of like, well, so I take a day off and I can be focused, so I don't worry. I can get this out of my system somehow, right? Whether that is, you know, just say a walk in a park or crazy dance in the kitchen for 15 minutes, you know what I mean? Or aerobic exercise.
I love a crazy dance in the kitchen.
Yeah, just get me those 5 songs, right? I bust it out, bust my move.
I had a birthday card from my dad that basically said on the front of it, it's like, you know, you're old when the songs that you used to go dancing to at the club, and now you're cleaning songs to get you motivated. So true. So true. And it's just a crazy dancing in the kitchen whilst doing stuff.
Yeah, cleaning the cupboards, wiping them down, right? Yeah, no, it's all so true. But hey, you're doing an awesome job. You're doing an awesome job, right? And, you know, Seb's behavior is not a reflection on you as a parent or you as a woman. Seb is not a bad person, not a bad boy. He just had this one episode. Yeah. He had an uncontrollable urge that one moment. The head teacher recognizes it, right? You did nothing wrong. You did nothing wrong. Not acceptable, right?
Yeah.
Understandable. And it's, a job as a parent to help him when things happen, for him to recognize, because he's probably got some awareness, but that awareness will grow with age as well.
Yeah.
Right. So, yes, some of it might be a waiting game, but it's for him to understand that. So, getting him to understand what was happening before the teacher was telling you that you've come, how did you feel in yourself? Right. Getting him to understand, okay, so when I maybe get that itchy feeling or that kind of annoyance because things are boring, right? If you were, whoever friend in your class, and how could they have seen it? Right? How do you think they felt when you threw that chair? How would you have felt? Right? So next time, how can you help yourself with that awareness, and then maybe put your hand up and say, Miss or Mr. whatever class is in, can I just step outside for 5 minutes, or can I go to a library or whatever else? Because I'm starting to feel, and they would be very happy to let you go for 10 minutes.
Yeah. And this is it. And he has those mechanisms in place.
But he doesn't, and it's that kind of getting him to become much more aware.
Exactly.
Of what's going on, right? And that's what we can help them with. So, you're starting to get a bit antsy, you're getting too involved in this, right? That's what we always said with Samuel when he was playing board games. No one ever wants to play board games with Samuel, because, he just gets too invested in it.
Yeah.
Right? And he wants to win. He's so competitive and he wants to win. And I'm like, chill, mate. It's just a game.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, right? Whether you win or lose, right? There are 4 of us. By definition, 3 of us have to lose, right? But you being the best doesn't mean anything here, right? If you being the best meant that, I'd get an extra £1 million in my bank account, I'd be there.
That'd be a different story.
Fund your own education, right? Awesome. I don't even want it in my bank account. Let's set up a bank account for you.
2 seconds, Doris. You realise I'm recording, right?
Apologies. I forgot I was supposed to be in Peterborough in an hour and 20 minutes.
Oh, bye.
Sorry,
Well done.
See you later on today.
I'll cut this out of the recording.
Thank you. Sorry.
Have fun, Gareth.
I forgot he's meant to be in Peterborough today. Wow, that's cool. Anyway.
That's miles away, isn't it?
He's got to be there in an hour and a half. He could probably do that in 2 hours. Well, an hour and a half, something. I don't know. I'm just going to let him deal with that. It's not my problem today.
No.
That's his problem.
No.
Not my bit. Oh, dear. But our topic, we've got at least the next 20 minutes to go. I'll keep in our little bit before as well about just that section of, let's talk about the fact that it's okay to have the bad days.
It is more than okay, I think, and actually maybe a lot of this conversation can probably go in the recording, is that it is okay. We're human. We're meant to feel. Your life isn't, we're meant to feel all the feelings, right? Not just happy, because that's not realistic. We get to experience it all so that we know when the happy euphoric times happen. Because if we didn't, then everything would just be boring, right? It would just be like,
oh God, yeah.
And it's not comparing against others. It's kind of like, I know what good feels like, right? And I know what not so good feels like, right? But I think it's that self-compassion that we talked about, with having kindness and that awareness to kind of pull yourself out. And it's not to hide it, just feel it, acknowledge it. And as I said, if it means that you get to go home and go and dive under the duvet for an hour, if that's what's needed for you to feel better, go and do it. No one's here to judge you apart from yourself, right?
That's it, isn't it? Yeah, we've got to let go of those judgments, because we do hold such high expectations for ourselves that it can be a case of, I really feel like I need this, but no, I've got to, and I think I should be doing this. There's that.
And it's because we all want to achieve, right? And we all have a list that we want to get through. And, and it's those stories that we tell ourselves, you're freaking lazy, when you do this. And, you're just crap at that. See, you think that you had it well, so see, just because, you did well then, you're not as good as you think you are, right? And this is this internal dialogue that's happening in the back of our heads, right? But it's not real. And that's the thing, right? It's that kind of realization that I don't have to take anything that I say inside my head to myself to be the fact, like as in capital truth, right? It isn't, right? It's probably mostly bullshit, right? So it's kind of like, oh, okay, it's coming out, and I get to acknowledge that, and I go, oh, there, So I used to here we go. When I went to coaching school, you see this? Yeah. They said when I was going through coaching school, they said, we talked about this inner voice, right? And they said, bring something that I'll call your inner voice something. So this is my inner voice, and its name is Nigel.
Okay.
Yeah. And I called it Nigel because I don't particularly like the name Nigel, but I used to have a guy who just kept on yakking on and on and on and on, even when he didn't want to yak it on. But it got a crazy face because it was obviously not the real Nigel, right? But this one had really toxic voice inside my head. That's why I called it. And I always have it in my pencil case, so I can see it. And now I get to recognize it. That's just Nigel. Most of the time it's similar to kind of your mum's voice, bless you, or your own voice or whatever else, right? Mine isn't a particularly a male voice, right? It's just I called it Nigel, and I was like, oh, there it is.
And it becomes different when you do name it, when you are able to acknowledge
because it's not you.
Yeah,
it's not me. There's that little bit of separation, and you're like, and it's something that I can say. People say, oh, I'm such an angry person, or I'm a procrastinator, or I'm an avoider, or I'm such a. It isn't. I have procrastinating tendencies. I have avoiding tendencies, right? Because I don't avoid everything all the time. It's kind of like I'm not my hair. I have hair.
Yeah.
Right. So it's that kind of thing. So when we talk about it, because he isn't a bad boy, he has an angry episode.
Yeah.
Right. Or if someone is angry, I can see with your, or you can say it as factually, and not like he's angry. Or Becky's speaking with a raised voice, and her face is flushed, and he is upset because he's got tears in his eyes, and I can see that he's shaking. Real things that you can see instead of labeling them, because that for me that helps. When it's like, I'm frigging avoiding that kind of thing. Okay, this is what's happening now, right? Or I'm procrastinating, or I'm people pleasing, or whatever else, right? And it's still, here I am people pleasing again. Doesn't mean I'm one.
Yeah.
But, I like to say that I'm platinum encrusted, gold plated, people pleaser, recovering, I must admit.
I was going to say recovering people pleaser. Let's go with that one, shall we?
Exactly, right?
But isn't it about, and you saying like, actually, it's not that you're a procrastinator, you're not this. It's you've got procrastinating tendencies, you've got avoidance tendencies, and it's more about us. We need to get to know ourselves, don't we? And understand, well, what if I have procrastinating tendencies, what is it that sets me off? What is it that that happens before I start procrastinating, or before I get to that avoidance thing? And what is it that usually helps me to move past that?
Yes, and it is one. Yes, it's always that kind of acknowledgement bit first, right? And say, okay, and this is, and for me, that's kind of learning about yourself and wanting to do that, right? Because it can be sometimes quite uncomfortable work, especially when you see things that actually you know are there, but they're a bit uncomfortable, right? It's kind of so personal experience. I like to see myself as a really energetic, happy person, and for most of the time, I am that person, right? I am the one who sees the bright side of things, sees the positive bit, and tend to live high energy and happy and smiling. I love smiling, and I love giggling, and I love laughing. But on the other side, I'm also a raving bitch.
I was not what I was expecting you to say.
I am sometimes that version of me too.
Yeah.
Right. And instead of kind of to push that raving bitch somewhere deep, dark, where no one will ever see it, how about I just acknowledge, oh, freaking hell, you know, this is, you know, you are being a raving bitch at this moment in time. Yeah, okay. But I get to be her too. I get to be every emotion. I get to be every flavor. I get to be. It doesn't mean that has to define me.
Yeah.
Right? But we built this picture of ourselves in our heads, right? And actually, you know, to the conversation that I had at the start, where I had a previous conversation before we jumped on this call, was about when I first had Samuel. With hindsight, I probably suffered a little bit of postpartum depression. Didn't know about it because it wasn't really talked about in our NCT class. You know, everything was all sunshine and rainbows and whatever else, right? And you know, and with Samuel, it was a difficult birth because eventually it was an emergency C-section, right? But what did I do? I thought that, oh, you know, mummy's come out and they're always smiling and they're talking about my beautiful child. So inside, I was literally crying, but outside, I'm like,
yeah,
and my child is breathing, you know. But inside, I'm like, I have no freaking clue what I'm doing, right? I have no idea who I am. I am crying at every single thing that, you know, donate £1 to the donkey sanctuary, and I'd cry. I'm not even a crier. I don't cry, right? And I'm sitting there like, you know, I have to play up to this image that is, you know, oh yeah, she's got it all together, right? Because she had it all together, you know, when she was in corporate, and you know, a baby can't be that big a deal, right? Surely it's not that big a deal.
Not life-changing at all.
Billions of women have children. You know, it's not difficult. You know what I mean? My mom has had 4 kids, right? No problems. That's okay. Of course I'm going to be okay, right? But and I totally didn't acknowledge that I could have been in, you know, had postpartum depression, because that's not something that I would do. I'm a Chinese girl. We just get on and do it. Just go and do it, right? You know, but, you know, that kind of whole suppression, you know, it doesn't make you feel good in the moment. It just makes you feel worse, actually, because there is this mirage, this image that you've got to be. But I'm right here.
Down as well. It's like what you were saying earlier, like that box is getting bigger.
It's bigger and bigger and bigger, right? Yeah, and you don't know, because you absorb all, and this is how you think that, you know, you've got to be and think and all this kind of stuff, and that's what then gets, you know, imprinted on your brain, basically, right? And no, this is what you've got to be. You always got to smile, right? Yes, of course you got to smile all the time, and you've got it all together, right? No matter whether you're freaking burning it out, right? You got to do it. You got to do it, and you know, and then you look back and you're like, I don't even feel happy anymore. I don't even know what happy means. I just know I've got to do these 5 trillion things. Not even just 5 trillion, right? You know what I mean? Spinning all these plates all at the same time, and no ball can friggin' drop, right? Because if any one of those balls drops, this one is a loser, right? That's what I'm telling myself. But I've now learned, you know, and it's grateful, I'm very grateful for the conversations, such open conversations that we're having. It's like, it is okay to feel everything, and it's okay to feel sad, feel not enough, feel angry, feel resentful, feel fear, feel anything. right? But not allow whatever is happening that caused that feeling to equals that's what Doris is. Right? My son misbehaved at school today, therefore Doris is a bad parent. My son told me that he hated me. Oh my God, I'm a failure as a human being. Right? It doesn't need to be that. He's just had an angry outburst. Like I have angry outbursts. Right? And like most of us, when we have an angry outburst, you know, a second later we feel kind of a bit guilty about it because we actually don't mean what we said, but actually there is something inside of us that actually meant that. So how about I go there, see what is it about myself that made me say this?
Yeah. Let's address the hard things. It's not sticking plasters over things.
Exactly, right? And yes, that's exactly it. Let's not put any plasters on it, right? And we get to choose, because life isn't about being perfect, right?
No.
It's not real. And if I can be authentic and come out and share with my kids that I had a really bad day, they know, they get to experience that it's okay to have a bad day.
Yes.
Instead of, but mummy's always smiling and she's always positive and never has a whinge, you know, and all this kind of stuff, right? Oh, that's who I've got to be. When you're an adult, everything's got to be good, right? That's not what I want for my kids. I want them to be emotional resilient, be able to name all these different emotions, you know, but, you know, from depression to sad or angry or happy or ecstatic or hopeful or whatever.
And it's how we build that emotional resilience for ourselves, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is that, you know, with kids, it's never too late to learn. We get to practice it with our kids.
Yeah.
Right? We get to use this. Oh, are you really, because the kids nowadays, oh yeah, I'm so stressed. And I'm like, but what does that feel like to you? Right?
Yeah.
So many words, you know, we use with abandon now, right? It's kind of like, you know, I keep saying she is like that whole work-life balance. It's just bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's bullshit.
What?
Right? We use the word balance, but it has been so overused.
Yeah.
Right. And industry out there, you know, has made it to be a big thing, right? We've got to be this perfect balance. And it's like, yeah, well, show me someone who's got that.
Looks
right?
different for everybody.
It's different for everybody, right? And it's that kind of, you know, we get to learn too. Just because I'm an adult at age 51 doesn't mean that I can't learn. I'm here to learn. Learning is a thing that I absolutely love. And it's that kind of like, I'm not here to know all.
Yeah.
Right. And actually our kids are probably one of our best teachers, because it shows us what, you know, like I said before, what else I've got to work on.
Yeah.
Right. You know, but when you're too busy focused on the output, you don't have time to do that reflection, right? And it's that kind of like, just acknowledge, it's like, okay, I just want to do something a bit different today, right? Yeah. And it's also the, you know, when we get ourselves in a routine and then we're used to doing it, then, you know, to kind of also sometimes just take an assessment every few months to say, does this still serve me? Or am I just doing it because it's now an autopilot? But is what I'm doing actually creating the results that I want? And if it isn't, you're totally within your rights to tweak it or drop it or change it or continue it or add some more on if that's what you want, but not continue add on right into the proverbial invisible backpack that we carry and not take anything out, because that doesn't work either, right?
Yeah.
And like you say, it's that kind of importance to say, you know, priorities, like what is more important, my looking after myself right now, or be there for my child, or the business, right?
I mean, I would always liken that to the whole thing on the airplane where you've got to put your oxygen mask on before you help anybody else.
It is so true. But how often do we really, truly do that?
Yeah.
That's the tricky bit, right? It's the, not just, oh yeah, I'll do it later. There's always later, right? There's always later, right? But like we just said, you know, if I can focus on me first, right, then everything falls into place afterwards.
Yeah.
Right? Instead of focusing on everything else first, the me doesn't fit into it. And it's building a life for yourself where you're really in it rather than outside on the periphery of it.
That is so important.
Yeah. But how many of us When I was in corporate, I had no views of that. I always thought that, my worth was the output and the results, right? And everything that didn't go according to my plan was a direct reflection of who I was, equals failure. That's how I saw it. And I know a lot of people, when I speak to them, a lot younger than, they've got that now. And I'm like, am I just extra thick? Or how come they got it? Right? And they're in their 30s or 20s. And I only got this when I was in my mid-40s, but it was just a journey that I needed to go to. I mean, they're different. I had a different upbringing, like their upbringing. It's no, but it's that kind of like, God, can you imagine how much easier or more enjoyable my life could have been if I'd realized this 20 years ago? How much less stress I'd be. I was like, yeah, but I wasn't ready. I wasn't really ready to receive these messages, or I just wasn't
in the right place.
Yeah, but it's that kind of thing where I don't want my, not that I've got a choice, right? I don't want to, but this is where I get to teach them the skills to this of self-reflection, instead of them learning it when they're in their 20s or 30s. It's kind of like, hey, do this now. How does this feel to you? Right? When you say that word stress, what does that mean to you? How does that feel? Right? Not just think here, bring it into the body, right? Because when you go to school and then work, they all think they value you for your brain, and we kind of forget that there's a body attached to the brain, and actually it's the body that signals first.
Yeah.
Right. So actually, instead of the brain being the boss, allow our bodies to be the boss and the brain to be the servant.
That's
the brain gets to do the things that my body is telling me that I want to happen, rather than the other way around. Oh, my brain says I'm afraid, and then my body says, oh yeah, it's all getting tight because I'm afraid, right? Instead of, oh, there is this warning sign in my body. What's happening, right? Because that's where the emotion sits, right? Sits in your body.
Yeah.
Right? And it's listening to that. And this is where it's quite difficult, because we all sit here and it's kind of like, no, yeah, okay, I get it. It's especially, I typically find this, especially with men, when you ask them how they feel, I think, it's like, no, I want you to feel. How does it feel in your body? Well, I think, but because they've never used the words feel, they don't feel, because, and a lot of people say, oh yeah, but I think. And it's like, no, I don't want you to think, I want you to feel. And it takes a while for them to kind of, what are you talking about? I want to strategize. I've got a plan all laid out, right, for the next 5 years. And I'm like, yeah, but go to here, right? How does that feel, right? And because we have this other brain cells, not just here, right? We've got them in our gut, right? When we talk about our intuition, right? It's kind of like, use it. You've got all these tools at your fingertips, and you're choosing to kind of negate all that and just here, where it's so easily influenced by all the bullshit that we have absorbed as fact, right? As gospel. But it's not true.
It's tuning into all the parts of it. And that is so interesting. And I don't think I've ever thought of that before, in the fact that, and I will definitely be thinking about this one now for the rest of the day, Doris, in that how do we lead with the body first before the brain? Because actually, and I've done it before, where it is that whole thing of checking in with, right, what's going on, and what do I think, where do I need to go to next? Not, right, I've got to do this and I'm going to go over there. What's going on here? Because when I've already got something up here that's like, and this will hark back to that fact of that day where I just don't want to do this today. Don't want to do anything today. My brain's already got that thing, but okay, what's going on in here? Where does my body feel like I need to be, and what do I need to do before I then go back up here?
Yes. And that is, and that is where, you noticing whether there's any tension, any warmth, any tinglings, whatever. Yeah. And when you, similar to, what I call a body scan, right? Close your eyes and just goes top down or bottom up, whichever, and just try to relax everything, right? and focus, right? Because the brain will try and, oh yeah, but this is on your to-do list. This is on your to-do list. And tomorrow we've got this call, and next week is this meeting, and then the travel and whatever else. No, it's just to be really focused in the present, right?
Yeah.
And to really focus on what's going on, because then they'll relax you. Once you're relaxed, right? And you're right here, right now, then the brain can work its best because it's not overloaded. You're not overwhelming it with all these 50 million things that you want to do right here, right now. It is just focusing on, okay, I'm now relaxed. Okay. Then you can say, and that even just by normal breathing and being really conscious of the breathing, right, can get you back in that kind of calm mode instead of your which is typically more your right side of the brain. The left side is where typically the brain, what I call the gremlin and the saboteur sits. All these things that, I'm not good at, because it comes from that kind of fear, all grounded in fear. Actually, you can say, no, actually, I want it to be calmer. Or, take the breathing or do a body scan or whatever, whatever works for you. And then the answer probably will come up. Because the answer is always there, but we don't listen. We don't really listen. We have so many answers.
Yeah.
Inside us, but we think that we've got to use our brain to figure it out. Whereas if you just sit and we've got to learn that, right?
Yeah.
Because we spent decades not listening to it. Right? So now you can choose to listen to your body. And it doesn't require 5 hours of yoga, right? Every day. You know what I mean? That's just way too hard work, right? but it's intentionally doing it, right? So it's that kind of like, oh, I'm feeling really angry now. Oh, let me breathe, right? Calmly, just focus on the breathing. Where is it coming from? Why? And when I feel angry, where do I feel it? What is warm? What's tingly? What's uncomfortable? Where am I tense? Okay, this is how it feels. You've grown your own self-awareness, right? You say it's about learning about yourself, because these are all clues that you've got, and it doesn't rely on anybody else. It doesn't rely on Doris saying, oh, you're looking really angry today, Becky, or you're looking really upset today, Becky, or, it's like,
Yeah.
Right? Instead of using actions, because, you're banging a cup on a table or slamming doors or whatever else, right? It's like, oh, okay, something's not quite right. What's going on? Right?
Yeah.
You get to be your own detective. So I see, for a geek like me, I love this. I love this kind of, these puzzles, right? It's kind of, oh, what's going on? I'm not always immediately aware of it, but, it's like, oh, I'm not feeling quite right. What is going on? Because most of us is kind of, I'll just do more. Oh, I got a bit of a sore throat. I maybe I didn't drink enough. And it's like, actually, is it just a sore throat, or is something else going on? Right, okay, I haven't had rest for the last 3 weeks, right? Because I've been go. I got to chill for a bit, because nothing's going to collapse. I know nothing's going to collapse if I chill for a day.
Yeah.
Or 2, or 3, whatever is required, you know what I mean? And it's okay. It's okay for you to take rest, because everything, even if you think about machinery, they all need maintenance.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they all need a moment.
Exactly.
They all need checking over. Yeah.
Like your car needs to go for service.
Yeah.
And wouldn't it be just quite nice if we just did that for ourselves? Once a year, I get to take myself on for a service to a nice spa.
Oh.
A car service takes, what, a few £100? Okay, imagine what you could get done for a few £100 in a spa. See?
It's so nice right now, wouldn't it, Doris? This has been a brilliant conversation. Honestly.
Yeah, but it's that kind of, it's that kind of, we get it do all, and we get it do it with our kids, and we get to learn at the same time. It is not just cause and effect. It's getting down to the whole, who do I want to be in that moment when I'm dealing, with a child who's thrown a tantrum, or when I've had a, angry client on the phone, or I feel as if I didn't help my client at all in my coaching call today, or, it is that kind of what's inside of me that generated those feelings, because if we didn't care enough, we wouldn't feel it. Because if it didn't matter to us, we wouldn't care, right? Then nothing would happen, right? There would be like, if someone says about some Hollywood actor that you've never met, but you say, oh, they have this, and you'd be like, oh, okay, doesn't impact you, right? It's like, how can I get myself to be less triggered about things that are happening even inside my life? Because nothing is ever as big as I internally make it out to be.
Yes.
We catastrophize things, right, in our head.
Okay.
Also wants to keep us safe, and just acknowledging it, and like I said, that self-compassion and kindness, and like, you know what, it is okay to feel upset and kind of helpless.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe we do want to wallow it in it for a bit, but then that question is, this feeling that I've got, is it really serving me? Is it helping me get to where I want to get to? And if it isn't, then you get to have a choice. There's always a choice. No one can make you feel anything, but when we feel attacked, that's what we do, right? You get, oh my God, that's not, mummy tiger comes out, right? Yeah. It's kind of like, what is it that triggered you to feel like that? And you get to figure it out yourself, right? It's that kind of, where is the feeling? And you also know, it's like, okay, imagine that day where you can just 2 days spa, all treatments and all this kind of stuff, right? You can imagine it, you can feel it, can't you?
Yeah.
You feel it, right?
Yeah, feel it in my body, and it's I know what I feel like. Yeah. I'm in my body, I'm not in my brain.
Yeah, you're not in your brain. You kind of like, but you can go there any second at a time without actually going to the spa and spending 300 quid.
Yeah.
You can do that. You can feel, you can just shut your eyes and say, do you know what? If I was, how do I feel after I've gone to the spa? We can do that 50 times a day by just shutting our eyes and taking 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Right? And that is us rewiring our brain to look for more calm and happiness and relaxation, rather than closing our eyes and all we think about is, yeah, he did this and they did that, and anger and upset and stressed and all this kind of stuff, right? You can choose to play the other game, which is, can you imagine if you're sipping a, pink fluffy cocktail on some beautiful yacht and beautiful sunsets with, meal cooked for you, fresh everything from the sea. There's just water there, and you're there, right? Aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
You can do that, and we can have those thoughts. It's not, I'm not there on the yacht in the med, all that kind of stuff yet, but I can imagine it.
Absolutely.
And your brain cannot tell the difference between what is real or imagined. So why don't I just imagine the best things for me and my family? That's where I want to go.
It's a very powerful one, Doris, this one.
Yeah, but the thing is, again, we don't do this. No, we tend to wallow in the things that are not quite right. And then we wonder why things continue not going quite right. So how about I focus on all the amazing things that I want to experience, and I can imagine myself experiencing it after I've experienced it, not waiting for it to experience, but I'm in it right here, right now, and get to experience that. It's just using your imagination, right? And then just going, I just had a 2-week holiday in the Caribbean, right? All it took was 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
2 minutes, but 2
weeks.
weeks.
And did that, and oh my God, you know what I mean? And then my latest one, I went to Bora Bora, lived in this little hut with the glass floor where you can see all the beautiful fishes. People come in little canoes to bring me my food. It was amazing. It was awesome. Didn't have to spend a penny. Yeah, and it's fun. I get to do that, which is much more fun than when the kids did this, and roads and the whinging and the whining and the refereeing and all this kind of stuff, right? I enjoy this bit more. So I had peace and quiet. There was no whining kids. The kids were actually playing beautifully together. They were laughing and giggling instead of taking lumps at each other. Wow.
Oh dear.
Yeah, and it's just as simple, and it's kind of as easy as you wanted to make it. It can be as difficult as you want to make it too.
Yeah. Yes, and I think that's where we kind of tend to go when we start to think and delve into things, or we sit and we procrastinate. We might overcomplicate it. Then we overcomplicate everything instead of let's go back to the simple.
Yeah, the simple. There's so much things, so many things that we can do in simple. And for me, it's that kind of, I've got a huge value called fun. If it ain't fun, I ain't doing it, right?
I like that.
But I've got this, is it fun? And, there's obviously certain things that, like, doing your accounts or something is not fun at all. But what I do is now, I've kind of subcontracted out to my husband.
There you go. If it's not fun, you don't do it.
I've never kind of subcontracted. He's kind of took it, and I've never said no, right? I mean, he wants to do my awesome. You want to do the tax return? Awesome, honey. Thank you. Yeah, but it's that kind of, there are certain things that you don't enjoy doing, but it's that kind of, and even enjoy doing the things that you don't enjoy. How can you look at the things that you don't enjoy and still make it fun? Yeah. Whether you gamify it for yourself instead of going into it as, this is boring. Well, I keep saying to the kids, right, when they've got homework or they've got revision, it's boring, this is boring, it's boring. And we keep saying, boring is just a state of mind.
Yeah.
And the kids now always say, it's boring. All right, don't tell me it's a state of mind, right? But it is. It's like, well, how can you make it more interesting? Yeah. Can you make it a game? Can you get a stack of stickies and write it in the French version and you just go around and say the English version? Can you make it into a game?
Yeah.
Right? Can you, you can ask for help, right? And we can gamify it, right? Or let's do a competition, right? I write my post, you do your French or Italian verbs or whatever, right? Or your homework, right? Let's make it fun. Yeah. Right? Instead of your brain saying, it's boring, don't want to do it, and you just scribble and it's rubbish, right? You've done the homework, but did you really learn anything? No, you didn't, right? But if you have to make it fun, then it goes in, right? And you can, just say, instead of it, because homework gets expanded over hours, right? It's like,
oh yeah,
you've been doing that piece of homework for how long? 3 hours. Let me check what you've actually been on, right? Because and there they are, have gone on some YouTube or whatever else, and you're like, that wasn't really part of your homework, was it? Yeah. Whereas you could have had that time and gone for a movie, so gone out on your bike and whatever, but you chose to expand. Procrastination, right? I do it too. Yeah. I know I do it too, right? But is that kind of like, but you've got a choice. So, for me, is that kind of, am I having fun? If I'm having fun, I'll do it. And if I have to do it and it's not fun, how can I make it fun?
I like that, friend.
Yeah. It's fine. You can take it too. You can do it too.
Sorry, I think I might. I do live by something similar.
Yeah, exactly. Well, whatever it is, and try it. If it doesn't work, try something else.
Yeah.
And then try something else. And if it works, keep on doing it, right? Until it doesn't work, and then change. Yeah. You always have a choice, right? To do more or less of it. Or do it differently. You don't always have to do it the same.
That is very true.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Mm-hmm. Wisdom of Doris on a Tuesday.
I nearly said it. No, it's not. It's Monday. No, it is Tuesday, isn't it? There we go. That's where my brain is today.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Let's not replay Monday.
Let's not replay Monday. So on that note.
Awesome. That's a wrap for this one.
Oh, it is. Oh dear. That was a good one. And we covered not one of the topics, but we didn't cover the topic.
If you enjoyed this episode, follow us for more Unpacked and Unfiltered Tuesday sessions. In the meantime, you can find us hanging out online over on LinkedIn, where you can find out more about what we do at Happy Bunny Coaching and Rebecca Jane Virtual Business Support. Links in the comments. See you next time.